Hello, welcome to Shad Life. I'm here with the Haro Saguaro, and out of all the bikes I've ridden in the last few years, this has quickly become my favorite. Um, if I was to like compare this to, let's say, that Nuke Proof Scout, this bike is so much more snappy, so much more poppy, so much more playful. Um, Haro is onto something here. So let's talk a little bit about Haro. If you're in the know, you know, but Haro started out with a guy named Bob Haro way back in the late 70s. He made number plates for BMX racers and so on and so forth. And he's technically the inventor of BMX freestyle. Haro was the first company to come out with a BMX freestyle frame and so on. So Haro has a deep history from the late 70s, but they were pretty strong through the 90s and even a little bit into the 2000s. If you've heard of Dave Mira, he used to ride for Haro for quite a few years, was their top rider. They actually had Dave Mira models, things like that. But on the mountain bike side of things, Haro has kind of been up and down. Like they've never really grasped mountain biking until now, in my opinion. Yeah, there's been some years there where they came out with mountain bikes and they had some decent stuff and so on and so forth. But this bike right here is, in my opinion, the best geometry hardtail on the market right now. And the thing that I love about this is that the chainstays grow with the reach. So as the sizing goes up on the Haros, the chainstays get longer. They also change out the wheels. So this is mullet, so 29 front, 27.5 rear. But once you get into the medium, this is size small, they go with a 29-inch rear wheel, and they get a little bit longer chainstay length. Then you get to the large, and the chainstay length is a little bit longer, and it keeps the 29 wheel. Right. That is how bike companies should be sizing bikes. Some other companies do it, but it's not very common that they change the chainstay length when the front end gets longer. But it absolutely makes sense as a rider gets taller. And the 27.5 wheel thing on the rear is really nice for shorter riders like me, 5'7", because I always end up buzzing the tire. I have yet to buzz this tire. I was even at the rail yard just a few days ago down in Bentonville, or well, in Rogers, next to Bentonville. And I did not sit on the rear tire trying to jump my bike over these pretty peaky big jumps and stuff. And so, yeah, it is impressive. The geometry is super nice. And so this particular one, 418 chainstay, and the reach, which is, this measurement to like center bottom bracket parallel to the ground, right about there from the head tube, is 420. In comparison, my Canyon Spectral 125, which is full suspension, right, has 437 chainstay and a 435 reach, and I feel pretty comfortable on that bike. Like that bike is also really spot on for my height. But one thing is Haro is coming out with full suspension bikes, and the word on the street is Haro's going to take mountain biking very seriously. They're actually doing road biking and gravel biking very seriously also. Like they want to be a full-fledged, full-line bike company. They do really well with BMX, but they really want to dive into the other genres of bike cycling. And they're going to have some full suspension bikes coming out. And all I have to say is if they use this philosophy that they have going on here on their full suspension bikes, they are going to kill it. So here's the thing. This is a trail bike, in my opinion. It's not an enduro bike. So a trail bike should not be this extreme long and slack design. It shouldn't have the super slack head angle. It shouldn't have the super long reach number. It doesn't even need to have that super steep seat angle, which is, I think, is kind of ridiculous. I'll do a video on that soon. So the bike industry needs to stop applying enduro and downhill to trail bikes and below. The trail bikes are the sweet spot. They're the all-around bike, so they need to make them for all-around riding. And so, yeah, if you want that super long and slack, then get an enduro bike, get a downhill bike, whatever. But when it comes to trail bikes, that is not what they need to be, and bike companies need to realize that and keep trail bikes playful, fun, agile, for not being bombing down rocky downhill descents. So, and believe it or not, I can go down some pretty gnarly stuff with this bike because I have the skill to do it. And that's a whole other thing, is they need to stop making bikes so single purpose and expect that a rider will have a certain degree of skill, because if you have a good high level of skill, you'll be able to ride a bike like this on almost anything, believe it or not. Don't, like, full suspension isn't even required to get gnarly on that bike. So there you have it. I'm gonna go hit this trail and talk about a couple of things while I'm riding. This intro is already pretty long, but I really want to stress that Haro is onto something. This has become my favorite bike that I've ridden because it rides how I want it to ride. It's playful. The front end comes up easy. It's well balanced. I can absolutely shred on it, as well as a 57-year-old like myself can shred anyway. So there you have it. Let's go hit this trail. One thing about this bike is that it is really stiff. Now that has some drawbacks, but it also has some positives. But the drawbacks are that when you're seated and pedaling, or even standing and going over rough terrain, it doesn't have a lot of whoa, I didn't see that log sticking out. It doesn't have a lot of ride compliance to it, so it's going to beat you up a bit. But the advantages are that it's super crispy. It's very responsive. It does exactly what you want it to do when. So yeah, makes it fun. But if you were to do like a super long ride with this bike, you'll definitely feel it. Yeah. Yeah, like right there. Some braking bumps because people don't really know how to brake. That's how braking bumps get created, of people that use their back brake and skid. They don't use their front brake properly. It is so fun through stuff like this. Woo. It just pops when I need to hop over something. Manual, super good. Love this bike. And despite its super short chainstays, it is a great climber. Like, every pedal stroke is power to the rear wheel. I love it. One thing that would be cool is to have like a steel frame with this exact geometry. Then you'd get that ride compliance and have like just a sweet bike. This thing rides so nice. Jumps, super sweet. Yeah, love it. Yeah. I'm telling you right now that this bike absolutely rips. Like, it is amazing. Man, I love riding it. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, manual. Yeah. Yeah, so fun. I can just flick it around. So instead of saying a bike is twitchy, I like to say it's responsive. Like, this bike is very responsive to my input, and I like that. It's kind of that, you want to be the passenger or the pilot, right? I say that a lot. This is a pilot's bike right here. It's kind of like pointless to jump those rolls like that, because then you just jump the flat. Yeah. I was going pretty fast there, and I never once felt like the bike wasn't stable. Having the 29-inch wheel up front helps a little with that, and it is modern geometry. I mean, it's a 64.5 degree head angle, 420 reach for my height is modern. Let's talk about the component spec on this bike. So it comes with a Marzocchi C2 bomber fork, which is pretty nice. It's not the highest end fork. It's gonna be a little bit heavier, but it's got Fox internals. It has a really good feel to it. And this is 140 millimeter. It comes with these WTB, I forget what they're called. They're like the tougher rims. I'll put it in the down below what they're called. And then I'm actually impressed with the Kenda tire so far. I didn't think I would be, but Penner Pro up front, Navigal 2 in the back. They actually work really good so far. NX drivetrain, now I got mixed feelings about it. I mean, yeah, it keeps the price down and stuff, but it just doesn't shift how I'd like it to shift. It's not as crisp. It seems a little slow. And then the lever has a heavy push to it. It's not just click, 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 click. It's like I gotta really push hard on the lever. And it seems like I have to push harder on it the higher I get into the gears, or when I get into the big cogs, I have to push much harder on the lever to get it in there. So I've ridden with SRAM GX before, and GX seems better by far. The dropper post is a Transex. It's got that seat wobble to it, those seat wobbles in it. And I wish it would have more travel to it so I could run it lower, because that's a lot of space I could be using to drop the saddle. But it hasn't been an issue getting in the way so far, but I definitely would like to be able to get it down to about there, but I can't with this post if I want to have full leg extension when it's in the up position. And the TRP Evo brakes, these things are amazing. These brakes are becoming my favorites so far. Like, I really liked the feel of the levers. I thought I wasn't gonna like the levers because they're so much longer than, say, my XT levers. But once I get everything positioned, and what's kind of nice is I have to move these in further to get it set up for one fingering, which gives me a lot more room and adjustability for my shifters and dropper levers. So I actually kind of like that they're longer, so I have more room to play with, so that's cool. Bars and stem are no longer stock, so the stock bars and stem were okay, they were decent, but I really like this Chromag stem, and I like the Rinthal fat bars. So yeah, grips were good, everything's pretty good. I mean, for the price, I think the only thing I would really like different would be the post, which I will probably upgrade, and then I'll probably just upgrade the whole drivetrain. I just have to decide, do I go GX or do I go XT? XT seems to have been my go-to lately, Shimano XT. But aside from that, everything else will probably stay. There you have it. This bike is amazing. I appreciate your support for my channel. Please like and subscribe. Peace.